Our guest this week, we have Cassidy Eames. Eames.
Good. Yeah.
Filmmaker, photographer, or photographer, filmmaker?
Oh, that's great. Either one.
Okay.
Follow your heart.
Follow your heart. Oh, God. This is great. At Captured by Cassidy on Instagram. Her new film coming out, premiering, Upward, featuring Reid, Woolsey, and Robert Davis, October 22nd, which is October 16th, my bad.
Yeah.
How come it happened in October 22 is when it was?
October of last year.
Should we play this? I think just the audio is going to come through, though. Yeah, we're going to play this.
Play.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Oh, God.
2.5 miles up the side of a mountain on a trail that's held together by rocks and roots the entire way. It is so technical. One wrong step, that could mean a game-changing fall. It's really dangerous.
There is no way runners on the east can compete with runners on the west when it comes to the Max Vert October Challenge.
His goal was 500,000 feet in elevation.
He was running 30 to 40 miles a day, up and down the same hill.
Cell service is just super intermittent. And these mountains, you're kind of just deep in the woods, and he didn't have a way to talk to anybody.
I felt really very, very isolated out there.
He wasn't smiling anymore. He looked like a shell of himself.
It was kind of like snowballing a little bit.
He was like reliving traumas out there.
I was hallucinating, visually like seeing these traumatic experiences.
You know, you have to fall apart sometimes to climb out of that hole. He believed in himself, even in that like really dark place when everything was saying stop, he kept going.
Okay, that is Upward, the new, what do you call it, a film?
Yeah, documentary.
Documentary film?
Yeah.
By Cassidy here.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the orchestra you hired, apparently. I mean, you got, like how did that happen?
The orchestra?
Yeah, the music is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Art list.
Musicbed.com.
Yes. Commercial break.
Commercial break. No, it was good. How did you, I mean, these are your friends, right? Like how did, but how did you start?
How did it
start? How did it come to be?
Yeah.
And tell us the story.
Yeah. So what it is so Reid Woolsey, he set this world record so Cirque Series is a race series that's based out west. They do like kind of high elevation run races.
Like Vert challenges.
Vert challenges,
right? Okay.
Races. So they put on this like this challenge called Max Vert October, where it's like a virtual challenge. So you can run from wherever you're at and use Strava to track your elevation.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Cirque Series director, Julian Carr, started this in like 2019 when like all the races were canceled, COVID, and it kind of just took off and people just kept showing up, like pushing these crazy limits. So the previous record was at 400,000 vertical feet.
For a month?
For a month,
okay.
Yeah. So in 31 days, and then Reid set out to do 500.
Time out. That was, okay, the record was what?
400,000.
400,000.
Crazy.
In a month.
Hard to wrap your head around.
Yeah, okay. So his record is over 500.
Yeah, so Reid set out to do 500. And like, it's hard to even imagine what that is. Like
how many miles a day or what?
Yeah, and if you think about like Mount Everest, that's like the tallest point on Earth. It's 29,000.
Cam's doing math over there. Cam, what'd you got?
Well, 400,000 is almost 13,000 feet a day. So 500,000 would be
18,000 feet a day.
Somebody else.
Cass knows it. Yeah.
16. Actually.
I literally made a film about this.
Divided by 31.
Oh, 16. That's
16,000 feet a day.
Yeah, which is crazy. So I didn't really know what was going on. All I saw in November of last year was that Reid Woolsey, my friend, set a world record for a running challenge. And it was like, what? And that's all I knew at that point. What I also knew is that Reid only started running in 2018. And I remember when he started running, it was like,
What did he do before? Do you know?
he
mostly
was
walked.
athletic.
He mostly walked.
He like wrestled in high school, and he's a
Okay.
really strong climber and stuff. But he just started like running in 2018, and it changed his life. Like he was going through a really hard time in 2018, and I remember when he started running and how like that was a life changer. And so I was really drawn to that part of it. I was like, oh, it'd be cool to like do a little video interview with Reid.
Yeah,
'Cause he-
that's how Todd and I work too. We're like,
Yeah.
oh, let's get him on the podcast. And then,
Yeah.
but then it turned into something.
Yeah.
more.
So he lives in North Carolina right now. He did the challenge in North Carolina. He was coming to visit Ogden. So I like met up with him, like recorded this interview. And then when I started hearing about the whole challenge, it was just like, whoa, there's so much to this story. There is so much, and it's insane. And like, he's not getting any like,
Press or anything. I
attention
mean,
or
like,
anything
how many, yeah,
from
who
it.
carried the story?
yeah, like really no one. And I was like, oh, I feel like this is turning into a bigger project. And so, and the other cool part of it is like, no one knew who he was. You know, there's all these other pro runners are getting a lot of press when the challenge started. They're like, oh, there's, you know, out in Colorado, like where at the Manitou Incline, where you can get a lot of vert in like a mile.
Yes.
I think it's 2,000 feet in a mile. Steps.
Right.
So there
Right.
was like these two guys there that were like, we're gonna beat the record, and like they had the news crew out there on the
Right.
week one, and like Reid like didn't even drop any of his data for the first week. He was just like running alone.
Wait, so he had
in
a week that wasn't even
Appalachia.
captured?
Well, so you upload your Strava.
Oh, he
information
uploaded
to
it
the
after.
to
Okay.
the run site.
Yeah.
So like no one knew he was even in the race
Yeah,
till the end of
Okay.
week one.
Yeah.
And he
He
like
tricked them all.
yeah. And they're like, who's Reid?
Yeah.
This guy out in North Carolina where the mountains are much lower.
So that's what I got out of your trailer.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
voiceover guy does a
Yeah.
good job of that, which I don't
Yeah.
know who he
That
is.
was a podcast.
That was a podcast.
Some other podcast.
Obviously not as good as ours.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
Yeah. I think it was called the Adventure Running Podcast.
It was a fine voice.
No, he did really good because he sets the stage of
Yeah.
talking about that point where, and then your video along with it was pretty spectacular because I wouldn't have thought of this, that the mountains aren't as steep and
Yeah.
and they're full of branches and rocks and these things,
Yeah.
like the trails aren't as
Yes.
defined and it's just harder to do there.
Yeah. Yes. And it, so he had to run more miles to get that same elevation. That, you know, so that took more time during the day. So
Right.
it's like 30 to 40 miles. He ended up like not really realizing how much support he needed during that. And so that little part of the trailer was like, he went through this really dark period, like week 2, where he was completely alone running this trail, like up and down.
Yeah, it sounded awesome.
Yeah, I don't.
It sounded
I don't
awful.
get
It just sounded awful.
Yeah, and
And
he
then
just
just
like
keep
kept
doing it.
going. Yeah, and
And we find out in the film, I'm assuming,
Yeah.
what the motivation was, right? Because
yeah, and I think like so he, you know, he's open about, we address like he's open about talking about how he struggled with depression and anxiety and stuff, and he's gotten through these really hard, dark periods in his life. And so I think that was like almost, you know, like part of why he was able to push through such a dark place in this challenge.
So talk to me about how you went about filming something that had already happened, because it was something you didn't get to film him in action, correct?
Yeah.
Recreations.
Yeah, recreation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, initially when I first talked to him and I did like an initial interview, I started realizing all the different aspects of it that I should try to include. So I ended up just going out to North Carolina where he was. And I also interviewed his partner, Lana, who has like a very, I mean, she was the voice in that trailer. She's a very good storyteller and has like, a perspective, a very intimate perspective about this whole thing. And so we went out to the trails that he ran. There was 2 different trails he ended up running on. It's all part of the story. But yeah, and we just shot in those trails. It was winter time. So like the Appalachia, it's Blue Ridge Mountains, just absolutely gorgeous. Such a beautiful, magical place. And even in the winter, but like the leaves were out of the trees. It's still very biodiverse area. But I think like what I captured on that trip was a lot of these trees. It kind of just like added to this kind of like isolation feeling, like a spooky feeling. So I was like really glad that I got those shots. But I ended up going back again few weeks ago and reshooting a bunch of stuff to fill in a lot of these holes that, once I put the interviews and the whole story together, I like realized where the holes were, and then I did need to go back if I really wanted to do it the right
Is this
way.
the type of filmmaking that you like to do? Because this is retelling. What'd you call it, Todd?
Like a reenactment.
Like a reenactment?
Oh,
Yeah.
but I don't think you reenacted too much. You just got some more shots. Unless was he in all those shots too?
He was in the shots.
He was in the shots.
Yeah, he was in there.
It's almost like
That was a
action.
reenactment.
It's almost like action B-roll.
Yeah. Action B-roll, and then like I do have like some clips mixed in there of like him on the actual trail, like during the challenge, like just from his cell phone and stuff like that, and like some photos and stuff that I'm like mix in there. So
what do you think of the results?
I think so. I'm
She's still editing, Todd.
still editing.
You got a couple
I
weeks.
think it's a really good story, and I feel very honored to be like telling it, and I think that he deserves it too, and it's been cool. Yeah, like it's been a whole thing for me, it's been a really big project. I mean, it's been just basically a passion project, and it's a 40-minute film. It's like a 40-minute thing, and there's been times where I've been like put it on the back burner and like wanted to just like be done with it, but it's like in a way just all the themes of it have kind of pushed me forward to like keep going. Like it's one step at a time, like just like Reid's inspiring me to like keep working on it.
I mean, he worked hard, right?
He worked hard. I was like, is this
He
overly?
did his part, I guess.
I was like, is this an overly ambitious
He's like,
project?
wait, you're tired of
telling me
editing?
about overly ambitious? Yeah. So
You mean his sponsors aren't just thrown down on this?
he doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, he
no
doesn't have
sponsor.
any-
He
yeah.
didn't-
Oh,
yeah.
He
He's
doesn't.
not even sponsored, and
That's all the more
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I have to know
Yeah.
what's his thoughts on you doing this project? Like, of you having that initial conversation with him, because he's clearly was
Yeah.
doing this for himself,
Yeah.
and he wasn't getting the attention that you felt the story deserved.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's not why he's doing it.
No,
We'll figure out
not at all.
why he's doing it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't know. I still don't
Yeah.
know entirely
Still
why
don't know
he's.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll know soon when I watch this film.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not super into, I mean, he's very humble. He's not into like social media at all. Like, or
Yeah, well, neither are
attention
you or Cam.
anything.
I swear, you guys are not. Cam's getting better. He's improving.
This week.
But this week, yeah.
I know, that's how I feel. I'm like, this week I've been better at social media.
Cassidy's like, oh, I'm back. I got a film preview. I'm back on social media now.
Yeah,
Like,
There must be an opening
exactly.
around the corner.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he was like, he was excited that I was excited. And I was like, this is crazy. This is really crazy. He's like, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, talk to me about Robert Davis's role in all
Okay,
this.
Robert. So Robert also did Max Vert October, and he did it here in Ogden. So with the challenge, you can race individually, and you can also form a 2-person team, and then the top 3 teams place. So it's like your vert together, puts you at a place. So so they were a team. Robert and Reid were a team, and so they were racing, opposite sides of the country, just kind of trying to keep in touch through the phone and when they had service. So Robert did it in Ogden. He chose Malin's Basin Trail to run on, and he was lapping.
This is the best part.
He was lapping Malin's 8 to 9 times a day, every day in October.
Every day.
To put some sort of perspective on like how much these guys were running. 31 days, 8 to 9 times a day up and down Malin's. And so Malin's is,
I'm like, I can't even
because
for someone who's like a fit hiker, I guess it's like pretty good hiker. It takes an hour to get up Malin's. If you can get up Malin's in under an hour, you're pretty fit. And that's another like half hour down. And so if you're going to do 8 laps every day, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I couldn't. Yeah.
10 hours a day.
Yeah.
What the hell is this Robert's job in October?
He had to take work off.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell his work why. He just said, I've got some personal things to take care of.
I'm guessing more like a lot of Zoom meetings.
Oh my
Your
God.
face.
No, he actually took the whole, you have to take the month off if you're going to do that much. Like that takes a lot of time. And so, like Malin's is the steepest trail for, the best option that he had. But it's also like the most popular trail. So it's like he was being stopped all the time by people being like, what are you doing? Like, I just saw you and now I'm seeing you again for the 4th time. And so he'd have to stop and explain, and he was like losing time, talking to people. And I remember
Because he's nice and
because
does
he's
that.
super nice and he talks a lot. Robert talks a lot. So, and I remember, I remember seeing him. I guess I hiked Malin's once last October. And I did one time. Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing? And then I just didn't know what he was talking about. It just like went over my head. I'm like, cool, that's great. Cool.
So you didn't even know. You didn't even know.
I didn't really get what he was talking about when he was
Yeah.
trying to explain it, and I bet nobody really did,
Right.
or like can really wrap their head around it. But
Or just thought
yeah,
he was crazy.
yeah, it's just like why?
Yeah.
Why? What? Why?
Well, did he win, or we have to wait to
so-
the film
so-
to watch?
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Their team was top. They won team. Robert did 407.
So he broke his own record?
He broke the previous record as well. So the top 4 passed or broke the previous world record as well. So he got 4th place.
It gets to the point where it's
Pretty
like
amazing.
Did Reid?
someone's going to stay awake for all 30 days and just
Reid
hike
won.
or something.
won.
Yeah,
Reid won.
Reid won.
But now it's October again. I don't know if you guys knew. So that's why I was like, hey, I got to push this out.
Why do you think I was late for the podcast?
Your 10th rotation. Yeah, that's really funny.
Cav's going for the record. He's going to be lapping that train here coming up.
I used to drink 2 beers.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think there's going to be a couple people trying to beat Reid's record for sure.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
They're
Crazy.
going to do it, though. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's just crazy what humans can do.
That's where I was going. Like, they're just going to stay up for all 30 days of October in one of these years and just run. What did you learn, or what are you learning? I mean, you kind of gave me at least before the podcast a little hint into you got remotivated at one time. But what did you learn in this process?
Yeah. I think there's some like interesting themes that like motivated me throughout it, and just like I reflected on. And yeah, like I think, you know, there were points that I like on this project wanted to like kind of just give up on it or just be done with it. And yeah, I got like re-inspired, and one theme that I learned is like I'll probably never do something like this again by myself. And like in hindsight, it would have been even better if there were other people helping. But it was like, oh, I just like was like, I'm not gonna ask anyone. I'll do it myself, you know, which is also kind of like what Reid was going through. He didn't ask for any help or support, but it's like that's a theme, is like reaching out is good, and like for like we can do more if we do it together, you know, is like a big theme of it. But like actually, yeah, like there was a point in July, actually I was with Cam in Oregon.
Small world, small town. Yeah.
And
I needed help.
Cam and Dylan.
I
Yeah.
reached out.
He reached
We all
out
do,
for my
Cam.
help. I was with Cam and Dylan, and Dylan's, you know, Dylan and I have been besties for a long time. And I showed him what I had.
And Dylan works with
Dylan,
Cam.
yeah, yes. Yeah, so we're both in the film world, and I showed Dylan what I had, and he was like, this is a really good story. Like, you need to do it right. He's like, go back out there. Go back out and get the shots you need. And I'm like, okay. You know, it's just nice to have, like, some support, like, just to watch it and be like, okay, you've got something here. Like, keep going, you know? Yeah. And then, like, I actually told Cam about it, Cam and Kelly, about, because you guys were talking about your crazy run in Switzerland. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I'm working on this thing, just this thing.
Just this thing.
Reid. And you were like, I'd love to see it. I was like, would I dare show Cam what I have?
Come on.
And then I was like,
Cam's mean, man.
What reputation do I have?
well, it just kind of like put it into like a perspective, like, what do I want out of this? And like, I've put so much into it, like, why not like do it right and put it out the right way and stuff. And so that was just like kind of a good little extra push.
Did he like it? Did you show him anything?
I haven't showed him anything.
Oh, you've seen nothing?
So I'm not gonna show him.
It'll be a good critique. He gives this podcast like 1 star. After he's on it.
Yeah, no cup holder.
Yeah.
We knew better.
That's our comment. People mostly say like 4.5 stars.
Great
Wish
show,
they had
but
great show, but wish they had a cup holder. That's sort of where we end up on the reviews on Apple Podcasts. Okay, so are you nervous for the release? I mean, you got to finish editing.
I still have
so there's that.
A little editing to do. Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm excited. Yeah. I think it's going okay.
I think it's going to be awesome.
I think
excited.
it's amazing.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Congrats. It's a big deal.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's huge.
It's been
40-minute documentary.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Have you ever given up on anything, Cam, or wanted to? I mean, because that's what she had feelings of like, oh my gosh, it takes forever.
Yeah, I mean daily. I mean there are so many ideas that are so easy to give up on because they're hard, and I have that all the time. I mean, I'm not kidding, daily. And so I think that says a lot about, you know, how good the idea is. Like, you can have really good ideas, and the ones that are worth pursuing just haunt you, and you just stick it out, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah. Stick with it. Get it done.
Yeah.
Plus, you got to get this film out before that record gets
exactly.
broken.
That's what I was so stressful about. It was like I know I have like a deadline. It's like my first deadline was February, and then it was March, April, May, June, and then I was like, it's got to be done before October.
Wait, time out. Your first deadline was February?
Yeah, I was like, I'll get it done in February. And then, it didn't happen. So
sounds like filmmaking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Personal project
you-
filmmaking.
Yeah, yeah.
So remind us, how can we see your film?
Well, it will be playing at the Monarch Building in Ogden, Utah, on October 16th, and it's gonna start at 7:15, and then there's gonna be a DJ after, which will be fun.
What?
Yeah, DJ Adam. That's Reid's brother-in-law. He's pretty fun.
Keep it in the
So,
family.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he was like, I'll DJ. I'm like, yeah, duh. Please. Yeah, so it'll be fun and a good reunion. Reid will be there too. Reid's flying out. Reid and
Signing
Alana will be
posters,
there.
right? We got
Signing
posters? Yeah.
and, yeah, answering questions, wearing a big coat, tie-dye coat, I guess.
See, now we know. It's a little clue. How do we get
Big
tickets?
fun coat.
Man, he's already got his wardrobe picked out.
I know.
Yeah, him and Robert have been planning on
Scheming.
matching outfits.
Oh, this is great.
Let's see. Tickets are on a link, Eventbrite.
Do we follow
Instagram.
Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah. So the link is in my bio and Instagram.
Captured by Cassidy or the other one?
Cassidy Eames.
Cassidy Eames.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cassidy Eames. That's CassidyEames.
Not the first time she said that. Oh my god. That was
Link in
brilliant.
my bio for tickets. Yeah.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like.